Okay, so now we are going to start our animation portion, but before animating all of this stuff we have to do a scene setup for our animation. So let's try to do that. Now I'm going to increase the time duration over here, so make sure to add 360 over here, and let's you can increase the size of this timeline. Then we have to arrange all of them properly in a null object. So let's try to do that. I'm going to select all of these lights and I'll hold Alt G on my keyboard, double click, and let's call it as lights. Okay, similarly I'm going to select all of this stuff except this plane. Let's deselect this plane by holding Control and hold Alt G and double click, and let's call it as all over here. Okay, now initially I want to create animation for my camera, so let's try to do that. We have our camera over here, and go to the coordinates over here, go to the freeze transform and choose freeze all, so all the positions are going to be 0 initially. Then I'm going to create one null object from here and go to the upper view and make sure that this null object should be at the center of this house like this. Okay, and then select this camera and make it a parent with this null object. Now select this null object, go to the start, let's double click on it and let's call it as cam controller like this. Then select this camera and we can rotate it like on x-axis. So let's make this -8 initially, create one keyframe, and at 360 frame let's make it 4 and create another keyframe. Okay, so if I see this animation, I'm gonna get this continuous animation like this. But if you see, the animation is quite slow and easy in ease out there, like there is a smoothness in the 2 keyframes. So to remove that, let's see what we can do. Let's make this scale 8 completely, so we'll get this kind of stuff. Create another keyframe. Now I don't want any smooth animations for this. I want proper linear stuff. So what I can do, I can select this keyframe, I can right click on it and go to the animation, and I am going to choose show F curve. So if I simply click on it, I'll get this kind of line which is a showcase of their speed. So as you guys can see, the initially speed is low, then as it goes further the speed is linear, and as it goes again at the end the speed becomes low. I don't want something like this. I want a linear speed, so I can select this line over here, or you can simply hit Control A. Let deselect it and hit Control A, so it will select all of this, and simply click on this linear icon. So now if you see, the animation of this camera is linear. So if I hit play, I'll get this kind of continuous rotating animation, and in between this animation we are going to animate all of our stuffs. Okay, so this is the simple way to animate your camera. In previous lecture we have animated our camera, and now I'm going to animate this ground over here. Now I need this animation should be completed in 60 seconds, which means 2 seconds. So I'm going to reduce this to 60 frames like this. Okay, because I want to complete this animation between these 6 frames. Okay, so let's try to animate our stuff. Let's minimize all of this, and I'll go to the all, and let's check out where is our base, which is not this one, but this ground is my base. So I'm going to bring this out of this object and let's minimize it. Press Ctrl Shift Z to Control Z to your camera position, and this time let's go to the cam controller, select this cam and press Shift C, and let's type protection and simply double click on it, so it will automatically has been applied to our camera. Okay, now alt click on this all, so it will hide it, so we can focus on this portion over here. Now let's go over here and let's see how we can animate. We will animate this base ground first. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose this bend it deformer and go to the object, and let's increase the strength. As you guys can see, it can bend any object like this. So let's make it complete somewhere around -180, or let's say -14, or let's say I think 45 maybe. Hit enter, not like this, or let's make this -90 like this. Okay, so if you want, then you can do something like this. Okay, now let's select this bend deformer and press R for rotation, and I'm going to rotate it like this. So make sure to hold shift, so it will rotate it like this. And now we are going to make it apparent with this cube. So what will happen, it will bend our ground like this. So now let's select this bend deformer. Let's go over somewhere to the front view, press E for obviously the moving tool, and if I decrease this down properly like this, we are gonna get this kind of stuff. Okay, so now if I move this bend deformer from here to here, I can get this kind of animation. So now let's move totally up to here until it will get out of this composition. Okay, select this bend deformer, go to the coordinates, and let's choose freeze all to make this, and if as you guys can see, if I not on but on y-axis, I can change the position. So let's select this position Y, create one keyframe, and then let's go somewhere around 30 frame, and let's move this from here to here like this. So it will complete your animation and create another keyframe. So if I say this now, I'll get this kind of stuff. If you want, then you can increase it up to 40 frame as well, so the animation will look a little bit smoother like this, or you can move this to 60 frame as well if you want. Okay, like this. So we will get this kind of stuff. Now somewhere around at 30 frames, I want certain animation for this cloners over here. So let's try to do that. For this, what we can do over here is that I can select this cloner, this cloner, this cloner, and this cloner, and I can create separate animations for them. So what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to create position animation for each and every one of them. So let's go to the start and select all of them and go to choose freeze all first of all, and then let's see which position we need to change the animation, which is on y-axis. So let's hit Control Z. Let's create one keyframe at the start, and let's go somewhere around 40 frame, and we will create, or let's say 30 frame, and we will create another keyframe, and then we will go to the start, and we will move this in such a way that it should go out of this view and create another keyframe. So if I say this now, I'll get this kind of stuff. Now we need to select those keyframes. So simply I'm going to select this keyframes, and I'm going to try to move this keyframe somewhere around over here up to 20 frame, and if I see this, I'll get this kind of stuff. Now let's try to change the position of each and every one like this. Like there should be some minimum distance for this. So for that, I'm going to choose timeline dope shift. So simply go to the windows over here, and over here you will get this option called timeline dope sheet. So simply click on it over here. Let's select all of them, right click, and over here we need to choose remove all objects from here because I don't want to see anyone, and I'm going to select this cloner, and by holding shift I'm going to bring them over here, so it will show me the keyframes of this. Now with the help of this scale view, I can easily scale it like this. Okay, and then with the help of this I can adjust the time. Now I need to be the distance between this properly, so I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames. So go to the 25 frames, I'm going to select this much portion and I'll move this over here. Then I'll go to the 30 frame, select this much portion, and let's move this over here. I'll go to the 35 and I'll select this portion and I'll move this over here. Okay, and let's close it, and let's increase the duration a little bit to, or let's say 360 degree like this. And now if I see this animation, I'll get this kind of stuff. Now somewhere around at 60 frame, now the ground animation is done, and I'll save this file, and now I'm going to create one null object and let's call it as done. So whatever animations are done, I'm going to move inside this done null object, so over here. Okay, and let's minimize it. Okay, now after that I want this base should start animate, out of which this is the base. So let's bring this out of this all object and let's alt click on this all again. Okay, now this base should start to animate somewhere around, let's say at 45 frames. Okay, at 45 frames I want this should be animated, start to animate, and I want that animation should at 100 frames. So I'm going to type 45 frame over here and 100 frame over here.